Hey, welcome back. It's Elisa, the Half Asian Tarot Queen, and I'm doing a reading using my Mystical Shaman Oracle to start for the Strawberry Moon Eclipse, which is in Sagittarius. It's interesting. One thing that I was noticing this morning is if you follow me on Instagram, I'm really into gardening, and I'm a chef, and so I've been gardening and growing all this food, and I have these strawberry plants that have been like pumping out the berries for like weeks. I've been getting like tons and tons of berries, and then all of a sudden, just like in the last couple days, it's like totally dried up. Like I've got no berries, no buds. There's nothing going on with the strawberry plants right now. So I feel like that's really interesting that happened just for the the eclipse. It's just like, yeah, my strawberry plants have gone dark too. So anyways, the Strawberry Moon Eclipse, you know, we're entering into eclipse season, and I feel like there's just like a lot of restlessness happening right now. Like people are really wanting change, you know. I mean, that's clear. I mean, evidence exhibit A is what's been going down in Minneapolis, my hometown. It's wild. I've already done a couple readings talking about that. Oh my gosh, this is wild. So yeah, you could link. There's a thread called Minneapolis Uprising where I'm putting related threads to that. But it's interesting because, you know, they talk about with eclipses like eclipsing things out. So it's like typically a real moment of healing. And I feel like the cards that just came out really speak to that. So on the bottom of the deck, we have the Serpent. And this is a card of like awakening your Kundalini energy, but it's also a card of like shedding the old skin, because like that's what snakes do. Like they shed their old skin, and you know, exposing your vulnerability, like your pink underbelly, you know, and that's kind of what this card speaks to. But it's really interesting, the other card. So we got the Owl, the Curse, and we got the Sorcerer. So this is really profound, because the Owl speaks of being guided by your ancestors, and it talks about following the signs and coincidences, because your ancestors are around you and they're here to guide you through this moment, you know. And then we have the Curse, and this is a card of like ancestral karma, you know. So like perhaps there's a mindset or a belief system that you've inherited from your ancestors, and it's like limiting you in some way. And this card is like challenging you to like heal that, to like shed this old skin, heal this. And you know, one example that it gives in the book is the example of like a scarcity mindset, and challenging you to be open to possibilities and like not be held back by fears or limitations, you know, but knowing that there is abundance in the universe, you know, and you have to believe that to connect to that, you know. And so having a mindset of scarcity will hold, you know, it'll pin you in, because, and you won't even realize it, because you just, you know, that's what you expect, and so that's what you manifest. And then we have the Sorcerer, which is another card of like healing, like a mindset that's holding you back, you know. And it's just sort of like having sort of like a negative frame and like projecting your pain outward, you know. And so you're living in a state of fear or, you know, limitation, and so you're projecting that outward in the form of like bigotry, hatred, scarcity, you know, like, and believing that it's like external, but actually it's coming from you, you know. And so this like is like this profound moment of healing of this like ancestral karma. This is really, I feel like, fascinating to me, because like I'm going through this situation a family situation where it's just like, I feel like I'm like approaching it, you know, very from a balanced place, and just like, this has the Lovers at the bottom of the deck, and just like with good intentions. But like this person, it's like so crazy because they've like projected all these just like horrible situations onto me, like that you wouldn't even speak of. Like the stuff that they've been like accusing me of is just like so unbelievable, you know. And yet I haven't been doing any of it, you know. It's all a projection, and like I think that's pretty apparent to everybody that's like involved. But like it's like so unfathomably nasty, you know. But then the irony is they're so like hell-bent on like proving that I'm like doing all this stuff that in the end they actually end up perpetrating it themselves, you know. Like it's this weird karmic cycle. And like the blessing that's coming from this for me is that like I'm realizing, you know, coming from the same origin, that like I might have inherited this mindset too and been projecting it outward, but like to see it in action and have it done to you, like I think makes it more clear, you know. It clarifies it, you know. Oh my gosh. So I just got the Lovers on the bottom of the deck again, and that's so crazy. So this is like a deep connection, like a deep love connection that's coming through, which is really interesting, because it's almost like this scarcity mindset. It might be holding you back from making this connection, you know. Like if you believe that like love doesn't exist, or you know, you're just kind of jaded and you might be missing those opportunities, you know. And so then we have, this is so wild, so we have the Hierophant, the Empress, and the Knight of Cups. So the Hierophant, like this is a card of like institution, you know. It could be like the church, or it could be like a marriage, you know. But this is like putting in place like a structure that's like sort of recognized and ordained by like an institutional structure, you know. And then we have the Empress, which is like sort of like giving birth and manifesting, you know. It's like almost like, I mean, this is like, to me, like giving birth to like some sort of like marriage or family situation is like kind of how I'm reading it, because then the next card is that we have the Knight of Cups. Okay, so it's so crazy because I did this whole reading and it was like a fairy tale. I mean, it was beautiful, and it was like this long awaited situation where, I mean, it looked like somebody was getting married, and I mean, it was a total fantasy. I mean, and there was like all these recurring cards. It's hard to explain, but it was a really beautiful reading. And then it just didn't record. Like, I don't know why. And so, but I feel like that's part of the reading, you know. I mean, so, and this day has been a crazy day, but I think, you know, it's an eclipse, which is intense. And I feel like it was almost like that reading just disappeared poof into thin air. Like the stagecoach turned into a pumpkin. So it's like, I believe that energy is there. The fairy tale ending, like someone's getting married, like that energy is there. But I don't know if that's exactly how it's going to play out in real life. So I think that this ending, so I'm doing an alternate ending on that reading for the eclipse, and this is going to be closer to like reality. So we'll see where we go. That was like the Doris Day movie version, and we're going for something else now. But it is, so far, it's along the same lines. It's just not quite as fairy tale as the one that came out earlier. Okay. Actually, I don't know. It might be. We'll see. It's pretty fairy tale so far. It's gonna be a, oh my gosh, it's gonna be a good eclipse, we'll say that. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, we got some of the same cards. At the bottom, we got 3 of Inspiration. So in the original ending, the 4 of Inspiration came out twice, which is the Marriage, Family, Stability card. And we have this time the 3 of Inspiration, which is sort of like, maybe that's what this person is going for, but maybe that's not what's going to exactly play out for the eclipse. But we got Awakening. We got 3 of Emotions, and we got the Page of Emotions. So this is like a reckoning, you know, this is like karma coming to the surface, like, and scores being settled, you know. So this could kind of suggest that there could be some situation from someone from the past bubbling up. And then we have the 3 of Emotions. So that's the 3 of Cups, which can be like a reunion card. And in the context of this, that's kind of like, it's like settling the score with someone from the past. Like, I'm getting that there's someone from the past just like bubbling up. And then we got the Page of Emotions, which is like an offering of love, you know. But this is kind of like a baby step offer, like it's like a page. So it's not like in the fairy tale ending, it was like fireworks and like horses and, you know, like Alice in Wonderland. And this is just sort of like, hey, you think you might want to get coffee or something? You know, I mean, it's not quite as dramatic, but it is a reckoning with someone from the past, you know. And then underneath that, we have the 10 of Emotions, which this is sort of like your dreams come true, you know, where it's just like all of these, you know, you've got your abundance, you've got your family, you know, and it came under this reckoning, you know, so this karmic situation that's coming true. But it kind of flipped out upside down when it came out. So it's just sort of like, that's maybe what we're going for, but not necessarily what. So anyways, I kind of got interrupted, but it kind of fell out like upside down. But interestingly, like I just got this deck, so there aren't really any reversals in it yet. So it's interesting that happened, because it's like, this is sort of like a reckoning, you know. So whatever needs to be righted, you know, is what's happening. So maybe what's happening is there was this situation, you know, from the past that like got derailed, you know, somehow. And this is what's coming back around. Like, this karma is coming back around on this situation, you know. And so it's just sort of like, then we have the 4 of Materials, which is like, in this deck, it has a little bit different of meaning. Like, this girl, she looks like Salma Hayek to me, you know. And it's just sort of like, the meaning in this deck is sort of saving your pennies for a rainy day, you know, like kind of being smart, you know, with your emotions, and like investing and like putting a foundation, you know, and just not just like blowing everything. Like, you're kind of like being thoughtful about it and planning for the future. And that came with this 3 of Cups, you know, which is like this reunion card. So it's almost like there was maybe some love that like happened in the past, and it kind of got derailed. Like, it had all this potential, but somehow it got derailed. Like, something happened. But the karma of this situation is coming back around, you know, and we're kind of looking at it again. And it's sort of like, even though the situation got derailed. I like how these cards kind of match a little bit. It's like you didn't throw the baby out with the bathwater because you kind of knew at the time when it happened that this is a situation that was likely to like come around again. Because like maybe it's like when you're like 19 and you get into it like this with people, it's just sort of like, nope, like it's just like full guns. Like you just like, you just like have the big blowout, you know? But when you're like middle age and this situation comes around like this and you're like, yeah, I kind of know that this person is going to come back around sometime in the future or we're going to cross paths, so I'm not going to like throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like I'm going to like maybe save some quarters for a rainy day because, you know, this maybe didn't work out when it came around the last time, but you kind of know that there's some potential there. So maybe, you know, just it might work out at some point if the timing was better, you know. So you're not like totally throwing it out. Like you see that there's potential, but like the timing was off or something was wrong, you know. And it's like falling out like right under this reunion card, you know, where it's just like, maybe the time for it to come back around is happening, you know. And then we get this little offering of love and we got the Two of Cups, you know, which that's like a deep love connection, you know. And there's like this little offering of love happening, so it's almost like this, it's like coming back around, you know. And yeah, like we've got, you know, the Three of Wands, like where we see it's like it might happen, like there's potential there in the future, you know. And it's beautiful how these cards, like all like the colors of it all just like, I don't know if I can like fit this all on the screen, but it's like really, it's like it's this beautiful tapestry, like how it all flows together. It's almost like it was meant to go down this way, like the lessons that were learned from this. So it's funny because the original version was this total fairy tale romance, and this one is sort of like, well, it's not really a fairy tale because it kind of got derailed and it didn't exactly work out how we planned, you know, necessarily, but it's not all bad, you know. We have Three of Wands at the bottom of this deck too, you know, so it's just sort of like, maybe this thing is going to come back around, and maybe there still is some potential there. I mean, there's still some love here, obviously, you know, but yeah, there's something that needs to like get righted for sure from the past, because like I said, something derailed it. So it's just like okay, and we have the Queen of Wands at the bottom of this deck, which is sort of like, can be like the other woman, you know, but this also is a woman who's like passionate and fiery, and she can manifest stuff in the three-dimensional world. Like she knows how to channel her emotions to like get like a certain outcome, you know. But from the ethereal visions, the energies that we have for like, you know, moving through the situation, we have death, we have the Nine of Cups, and we have the Two of Wands. So interesting. This is just sort of like, okay, so whatever the situation that happened that's coming back around for like a reckoning, we have the death. So this situation is changing. Whatever went wrong, like it's coming back around and it's getting looked at. And then we have the Nine of Cups. So it's just sort of like, you saved your pennies for a rainy day, and it's just like, now you're getting your wish. So like maybe whatever was the problem or was like blocking the situation from happening, you know, might be getting resolved, because like now's your chance. Like you're getting your wish. And so we've got this offer of love coming and this deep connection. And then we have the Two of Wands, which implies that you're going to have to make some sort of decision. Like, so yeah, like this is like sort of like climactic in the way that the other reading was. It's just a little bit more mellow, you know. It's not quite as like fairy tale, and it's more real life, you know. So it's just like, but clearly, like, the fantasies for that fairy tale exist. Like, they're there because they did appear. They just didn't get recorded. Okay, I'm going to the Moonology deck because this is a full moon and it is an eclipse, a lunar eclipse. And I'm going to just pull some energies from the moon decks to see what comes out. Because this looks like it's going to be an interesting... Oh my gosh, that's the same card that came out in the last reading. How interesting. I'm going to pull two, though. Okay. All right. So we got Take Time to Breathe Out. So that came out in the original fairy tale ending version, you know. So it's just like, you know, don't stress out. Like, things are changing, and like, yeah, people are restless. Things are changing, but know that you and your loved ones are safe, and take time to breathe out. Like, things are going to work out. So, you know, just try to relax and like enjoy the moment, because there's some major change going around, and like, people aren't settling for the status quo right now. Like, people are like seriously ready for change to happen, and that's like pretty... oh my gosh, we got like a lot of the same cards that came out. I'm just gonna keep taking these because... all right, it's almost the same. It's almost the same cards that came out in the original. Okay, so we got resistance, you know. So whatever this situation was that got derailed in the past, there's some resistance out there. So, you know, the beginning of the reading suggested that there might be like some traumatic history that needs to be worked through, you know, like that could be part of it. But for sure there's resistance to this fairy tale that we're going to have to like acknowledge, you know. And then the next card we got is boundaries, you know. So I think that's an important thing, you know, to have awareness about, is just like what are your boundaries, and like being able to communicate them effectively, because, you know, that's part of engaging, you know, and that's part of change, is kind of realigning what our boundaries are. We're having a reckoning with the past, but, you know, keeping the faith about the future, because we are moving into this change, and it actually, you know, keep the faith that it's going to be positive, and step into your power, you know, the full power of the full moon. And then it's like, put your truth out there, you know, like, be clear, you know, what your boundaries are, have faith, and step into your full power, and let it be what it is. And then it's like, in the first reading, it was like this person was taking this huge leap of faith towards this, you know, and it was just like kind of traumatic for them. But like in the fairy tale, like, this person just went balls to the wall. They just like totally went for it with the like riding in on the white horse, like the whole fantasy, and they just like totally unleashed, you know. But this is like a more like subdued version of that, you know. But still, it's like you're still stepping into your power, but maybe just not quite as dramatically. But it's just like, in doing that and making your boundaries clear, pushing past the resistance, and having faith that you can, you're gonna come to your peace. Like, you're gonna resolve this inner conflict that you've been carrying around forever. You're gonna have peace, which is a beautiful outcome. So good luck with this. I hope it goes well. And don't forget, we're doing a giveaway for June, and I just posted a video on the main page of the channel about it. But we're giving away this beautiful Muse Tech deck. And it's really easy. Last month there was only 3 entries, so the chances of winning are very high. And yeah, you should enter. All right, happy full moon eclipse, strawberry moon.